Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stavakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine Stavakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine Avatar Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been reading Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I am taking some of the spiritual ideas from there and meditating on those ideas which are very helpful for our spiritual practice. The whole gospel is Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. It deals with various ways of reaching God. It gives practical hints how to practice spiritual life. And Sri Ramakrishna has been able to lead all the Sri Ramakrishna has been able to lead all the aspirants of different faiths. He is the light showing the path to every individual, to every spiritual aspirant. So, I am dwelling on the idea, Sri Ramakrishna, the path shower of Dharma of this age. People need some guidance, some leadership, so that they can follow it in the right way. And here is Sri Ramakrishna. He has touched every aspect of human life. So, Sri Ramakrishna has been described as the great teacher of teachers, Acharyanam Mahacharya. Rabindranath Tagore, in his homage to Sri Ramakrishna, says, diverse courses of worship from varied springs of fulfillment have mingled in your meditation. Sister Nivedita, a great disciple who came all the way from England to settle down in India and work for India, a great disciple of Swami Vivekananda. She practically followed the teachings of Hinduism, and she loved India very much. Her whole life was dedicated to the service of India. In fact, she immediately started a school, the Vedanta school, which is very famous now in Calcutta. Her idea was to educate all the women who are not being encouraged to go for education. She says, she's a very shrewd lady. She could grasp things immediately and correctly. Very sharp intellect. She says, religion always in India precedes national awakening. Shankaracharya was the beginning of the wave which swept the country, culminating in Chaitanya in Bengal. Sikh Gurus in Punjab, Shivaji in Maharashtra, and Ramanuja and Madhvacharya in the south. Then she says further, but Sri Ramakrishna represents a synthesis in one person of all these leaders. One day, addressing Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna said, people talk of mercy to the creatures. How audacious it is to think of showering mercy on the Jiva, who is no other than Shiva. One should regard every creature as God Himself and proceed to serve it instead of doling out mercy. Tremendous. This is the great spiritual idea Sri Ramakrishna has given us in the Gospel. So, this indeed was a revelation. After hearing this, Swami Vivekananda said that he had heard a saying of unparalleled significance. Swamiji says, I shall communicate it to the world. And he gave his clarion call of divine worship through service of humanity. Divine worship through service of humanity as a veritable manifestation of God. It is not knowledge of scriptures or theology that makes one spiritual. We have got many academic pundits. We are professors in theology, but they need not be spiritual. They may be just pundits having book knowledge. Life is important. Life. It is the experience within one's soul that makes one spiritual, and service of humanity is a means of attaining divine bliss. Here we have got Sri Ramakrishna, who said this, himself set an example of humble service. He was extremely humble, so he was supremely great. That is Sri Ramakrishna. Extremely humble, supremely great. He was born an Orthodox Brahmin. Since he practiced spiritual sadhanas and has realized the truth, everything was clear to him, and so whatever he was doing, whatever he was talking, was just to show the pathway of Dharma. Now he went to a pariah's house. Pariah means an untouchable whose profession is just cleaning the restrooms. And because of their unclean habits, they are, as it were, kept separate, classified as untouchables. Here you find Sri Ramakrishna. He went to a pariah's house. He asked the permission to clean the house of the pariah. You know who will accept it? He immediately refused, because he thought that he, as well as the master, would be exposed to reprisals. There will be retaliation. People would revolt. But then Sri Ramakrishna, as I said, he was setting example to people. So he went in the night and wiped the floor of the pariah's house with his long hair when everybody was sleeping. He prayed, Sri Ramakrishna prayed, O mother, make me a servant of the pariah. What a noble thought. These are all spiritual ideas where we should concentrate upon. Swami Ashokanand, in one of his sayings, has said that service originates from love and sympathy in the ordinary plane. But when one learns to look upon suffering humanity as only God in different forms, we find that consciousness of the divine in man is the motive of service. This type of service becomes a potent means of God realization. Thus, serving the sufferer becomes a joy. One can feel the effect of love when one does service, seeing God in them. Recently we have seen there's a terrible earthquake in India. Last 50 years they had not had this type of earthquake. Tremendous. Terrible misery, sufferings. And People all over the country are rushing voluntarily to render service to the suffering masses in Gujarat, where the earthquake had occurred. And they feel that is the right thing to do. In fact, Swami Vivekananda has already sown the seed. If you want to realize your true nature, if you want to realize God, if you want to realize the truth, serve the humanity. People are suffering. Should you not do? Should you not do something to relieve them from suffering? And that idea is being taken up almost by all the people. People are rushing everywhere to render service. Even Pakistanis, the arch rivals of India, they are rushing help. So, this concept of God's presence in every living organism and of the service of beings for God realization cannot be stretched too far. It has to be chastened by discrimination. Value of discrimination is very important. You must not go indiscriminately. That may lead to some kind of dangers. This is illustrated by an interesting anecdote told by Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. I am taking all the incidents from Gospel. I am highlighting the ideas. Once there was a holy man in a forest. He taught his disciples that God was in everything and that therefore one should bow one's head in adoration before every object in the world. Every object should be shown due respect. That was the teaching. One day, one of the disciples went to the forest for collecting wood for the Homa service. It's a kind of fire service. And the disciple, while he was collecting the woods, he heard a voice shouting, "Get away from the way. The mad elephant is coming on the way. Don't stand there anymore. Try to run as fast as you can." But this disciple did not move. When he saw the elephant coming, instead of running away, he just began to prostrate before it and he began to pray. But the mad elephant, it doesn't know that the poor disciple is praying. It just hurled the disciple away with his trunk. Fortunately, the disciple was not killed. So, he was badly injured. And afterwards, the Guru came to know about it. He asked the disciple why he did not get out of the way of the mad elephant and save himself. The disciple answered, "Sir, you said God dwells in every object. Therefore, I thought the elephant to be God. It is true, God is in the elephant form." Then the Guru said to him, "Well, it is true that God is in the elephant, but God is also in the driver who rides the elephant. Therefore, when the driver was asking you to get out of the way, why did you not pay attention to him? This shows that there is need for discrimination in the pursuit of God realization. You must have proper discrimination and discretion. Very important. One should not go to the extremes of violence and of absolute non-resistance. A bhakta must protect himself from the evils in society. A man living in a society, in particular a citizen and father of a family, ought to pretend to resist evil in order to defend himself. But at the same time, one should be careful not to return evil for evil. This point is nicely illustrated in a beautiful story, again told by Sri Ramakrishna. One day, when a monk had gone out seeking food, he found that a zamindar was beating a man severely. The monk interfered. The zamindar got angry, and then his anger turned towards the monk. Then he beat him very severely. And hearing of this, brother monks came and carried him to the monastery in an unconscious condition. After some time, he was coming to normal consciousness. One of the monks asked him, while pouring milk in his mouth, as to who was feeding him then, just to know whether that person was recognizing him. The belabored monk replied, "He who beat me is now pouring milk in my mouth." To Sri Ramakrishna, the absolute and the relative were both divine. To him, everything is divine. So when you have this outlook that everything is divine, then you develop tremendous reverence to the whole creation, and your actions, your behavior, your character will all be accordingly cultured. The position of relative consciousness on the threshold enabled him to fuse the apparently contradictory schemes of the monastic life and householder's life. Swami Vivekananda said, Sri Ramakrishna was outwardly a layman, a householder, but inwardly a jnani. This is reflected in his attitude towards his relatives and devotees. His heart was so soft that he could not bear the suffering of others. He used to say that a person who has attained siddhi becomes Shiddha, meaning fully cooked. Siddha is a Bengali term, it has got double meaning. It means fully cooked. And therefore very soft and tender at heart. We can see some incidents where Sri Ramakrishna's love for suffering humanity are clearly depicted. Once Sri Ramakrishna was on pilgrimage with Madhur Babu to holy places such as Benares, Allahabad and Vrindavan. While on their way, they made a halt at Devaghar. It's a famous pilgrim center where one of the Jyotirlingas of Lord Shiva has been installed. Several thousand people go there every year at a particular time when they do the celebration. So Sri Ramakrishna went to pay a visit to the temple. At that time, the whole place was in the grip of a famine. The inhabitants of the place, they had no food for several days. Their bodies were reduced to skeletons. Some of them are dying of starvation. The whole picture Sri Ramakrishna saw. He couldn't bear the sight. He took his seat by the side of unfortunate victims of the famine, and he began to weep bitterly with them as one of the sufferers. He was so much sympathetic, and so he was determined to fast with them unless these people were fed. Therefore, Mathur Babu had to spend a lot of money on feeding and clothing these famine-stricken people. Another incident, one day Mathur Babu took Sri Ramakrishna along with him to his lands where he went for the collection of dues. At that time, the situation was, for 2 years, the crops had failed. People were suffering terribly. And Mathur Babu has gone there to collect the taxes. Sri Ramakrishna emphatically told Mathur, don't do it. And he said, you must know the entire property belongs to Divine Mother. It's true also. The whole property has been named in the trust, Divine Mother Kali's name. The whole land is in the name of Mother Kali. And that he was only her steward. So, he ordered Mathur Babu to spend the money in trying to give some relief to the suffering people. Mathur followed accordingly. Sri Ramakrishna's realization of divinity had thrown open to him a new vista in which he saw the Divine Mother, his relatives, and in fact all the suffering humanity on the same plane and in the same phase of reality. Towards all these varied appearances of Vidya Maya, he maintained the same attitude of unbounded love and devotion. In this respect, he differed widely from the traditional Gyanis who have little sympathy for world of illusion. A Gyani would like to erase this world of illusion from his consciousness. Therefore, a Gyani may not support also an illusion by redressing the sufferings of the creatures of Maya. Sympathy for the suffering ones may mean the acceptance of unreal and illusory appearances. This would naturally impede one's progress on the road of Advaita sadhana. Advaita means non-dual idea. Advaita says Supreme Brahman alone is real, everything else is unreal. The orthodox Vedantists, therefore, often shut their eyes to the sufferings of humanity. Here comes in Sri Ramakrishna, who practiced Vedanta, who practiced all religions. He opened the eyes of Thotapuri, a liberated soul of the traditional type, by helping him to know the Divine Mother. Similarly, he imparted a unique lesson to Swamiji. He made it clear to him that Jiva, that is the embodied soul, is no other than Shiva, God, and that every creature is God himself in a particular garb. So, Sri Ramakrishna has emphasized this aspect of service. The divinity of man. Every man is essentially divine. And this truth was declared by Sri Ramakrishna. And he wanted Swami Vivekananda to broadcast this message and establish this theme of serving humanity, seeing God in them. If anybody really, seriously wants to experience God, in the words of Sri Ramakrishna, serve the humanity. Serve the humanity. Through serving human beings, you'll be able to realize the reality. I am reading chapter 35, page number 690. Kedar said to the master humbly, "Should I eat those offerings?" Sri Ramakrishna replied, "It won't injure you if the offerings are given out of love for God, but they are harmful if they are given with any selfish motive." Kedar asked, "I have explained everything to the devotees and now I feel relieved. I have told them that he who has given me his blessing knows all." He means Sri Ramakrishna. Master said smilingly, "That's true. You see, people of all sorts come here, so they find here different things. Everybody gets something. Sri Ramakrishna is like a big reservoir. Everybody can get things from him." Kedar said, "I don't need to know different things." Master said smilingly, "Why not? One should know a little of everything. If a man starts a grocery shop, he keeps all kinds of articles there, including a little lentil and tamarind. An expert musician knows how to play a little on all instruments." Sri Ramakrishna left the room and went toward the pine grove. The devotees began to walk about in the garden. Several went to the Panchavati. Sri Ramakrishna met them there and said, "I have indigestion. I took a meal at the Malliks. They are very worldly people." A few of the master's personal things lay scattered in the cement platform of the Panchavati, and he asked M to bring them. He proceeded to his room and the devotees followed. In the afternoon, the master rested a while. Afterwards, a few devotees arrived. The master sat on the small couch, reclining against a pillow. A devotee asked, "Sir, can one know God's attributes through the intellect?" Sri Ramakrishna answered, "Certainly not by this ordinary intellect. Can one know God so easily? One must practice sadhana. One must also adopt a particular attitude toward God. For instance, the attitude of a servant towards his master. The rishis of old had the attitude of Shanta. Do you know the attitude of the Jnanis? It is to meditate on one's own self. To a devotee with a smile, He asked, "What's your attitude?" The devotee gave no answer. Master said smilingly, "You have two attitudes. You meditate on your own self and also cherish toward God the attitude of a servant. Am I not right?" Devotee answered hesitatingly and smilingly, "Yes, sir." Master said, "You see, as Hazra says, I can read people's thoughts. One can maintain those two attitudes only at a very advanced stage. Prahlad maintained them, but one must work hard in order to practice this ideal. Let me give an illustration. Suppose a man is grasping the thorny branch of a plum tree. His hands bleed profusely, but he says, "There is nothing the matter with me. I am not hurt." If you ask him about his wound, he will say, "It's all right, I am quite well." Now, is there any meaning in the mere utterance of these words? One must practice discipline in keeping with this ideal. The devotees were giving their whole attention to what the Master was saying. We shall stop here. That concludes chapter 35. Next Tuesday we'll be commencing chapter 36. Any questions? You're welcome to ask. Tell loudly.
Yeah, the stomach problem because...
Yeah. Malik.
Oh.
Yeah. What's the question?
I wasn't sure who the devotees were.
Malik. His name is Malik. He had gone there and he's remarking. They were worldly people. So, like that, he made a remark. There are many ways, but the point here is that Sri Ramakrishna is referring to the spiritual aspirant. A spiritual aspirant must adopt this method. So, if you are a spiritual aspirant, it should necessarily follow that you should have some ideal in your life and you must work for it. And as far as the spiritual aspirant concerned, everybody in this creation is God's very own. And they may be at different levels, it doesn't matter. He has to render his service to the best of his capacity, whatever way he can do to relieve the sufferings, he can render. That's all that matters. Each one person, everybody has to make progress only by one's own effort. And through suffering, some people turn to God. And in fact, I saw in the newspaper, yesterday's paper, that when the people were being rescued in the earthquake, and for 48 hours, mother and son were under the debris. They thought they may not survive, but somehow they could sustain their life and they were saved. And as soon as they were saved, the first immediate utterance was, they were praying to God, "Oh God." You see, that is the way. Sometimes the sufferings make them aware of the reality. Make them aware of the glory of God. And so like that, there are so many ways. In fact, these are all why this calamity occurs, why this earthquake occurs. Is God so cruel because so many people were killed? It is not like that. So, there is general law, there is law operating everywhere. It is clearly explained, Adi-Daivika, Adhyatmika, Adi-Bhautika, like that. The natural calamities, they are governed by natural law. So everybody is governed by one's own law, in one's own sphere. So they go accordingly. And Sri Ramakrishna himself has said in one of his teachings in Gospel, he has said that even though persons die for some reason, whatever reason, or if the whole world is deluded, Mahapralaya, the whole world will be merged in water. So what next? In spite of all these things, again the creation will start. Again those people who were in the previous state, in whatever way they were living, they were continuing to live. They will be born and they continue to make struggles. So, in a way, nothing is lost. But it's a terrible experience, and if you go to the theory of cause and effect, which our Indian tradition believes very firmly, everything has got its root, cause. Without cause there cannot be effect. So the earthquake has got its reason, and how many people had to die, it has got reason. 2-year-old boy is saved in spite of all this debris. How do you explain all these things? So it's a great mystery. Anyway, you have to learn things through the experiences, whatever things happening. And if you have that concept of God in every being, then the love comes from your heart, and you certainly you render your service joyfully, and you feel a tremendous way of peace in that way. People are running to Gujarat from all parts of country. It's because of that. Because the same divine nature is in everyone, that's the connecting link. So that makes them to go and render some service in whatever way. Some people, they may not go physically, but some people they may pray for removing the sufferings, and some people they may help the serving by financial means. And some people who are energetic, who have got good stamina, they can go to the place and physically help. Like that. There are so many ways of doing service. Even the very idea of simply thinking, oh, so many people are suffering, oh God, please save them, protect them. Even that itself is a great service. You are sending good vibrations that way. So like that, you have to understand. Anything else? But as I said, Sri Ramakrishna has shown various ways. And this is one of the way. Serving humanity. This is one of the way. And this is the important way. And any more question? Shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee,
a drowning man in this world's fearful ocean. He is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be free from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred books, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, he being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.